We are the Catalan Independentist Resistance, and you are listening to a new update from Radio Hadrian in Free Catalonia.
Media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make guilty the innocent and innocent the guilty one. And that's power. Because they control the mind of the masses. Malcolm X, activist for social freedoms, for human rights. Good night. Tonight on a Tuesday, this is chapter 42 of Radio Hadrian. We here, especially because of things happening in Catalonia, made that waiting for a full week might be too long. It's gonna be a brief program, I guess. First of all, I want to dedicate this program to my friend G.Aymi, without whom the independence wouldn't happen in Catalonia, because the resistance wouldn't have existed. He has put effort in all kind of ways, sacrifice time, worries and money in this cause, and it's only fair. We've been wanting to do this for several programs, but somehow, for a number of reasons, this week is the right one. We want to talk briefly and basically about Carles Puigdemont and Clara Ponsati, and then also explain all the things that they blame us of being, but we actually not, because there's a lot of people who don't want to listen to these programs. They don't want to act accordingly to these programs, because these programs tell a truth that is too hard for most people to stomach. So they have to attack us so they can keep living in their comfortable lives instead of facing inconvenient truths. We mentioned several times here, people listening to us already know that we know for certain that Carles Puigdemont is a double agent or Spanish mole, possibly not even Spanish, but New World Order. The way he reached power in Catalonia is clarifying of that. He's been handpicked to go through the motions in a very difficult to explain. Then he fakely declares independence twice, which is also what a mole would do. And after that, he keeps making mistakes that only a mole would do, like going to Waterloo, which nobody in its sane mind would do, kissing the Spanish flag, saying that the referendum in the whole of Spain would be a solution, having some messages with another member of government that are left there for journalists to see, where they say that they've lost, that they're quitting, or this kind of things. And now finally, as we said here in this program, for 4 years, Catalan resistance, and me in particular, have been advancing that things wouldn't go right for independence. And we also said very recently, it's not a matter of finding Puigdemont. Puigdemont might be ranked number 10 or 12 or whatever the number is in the Spanish Secret Services. He's just posing as Catalan president because he actually works for the Spanish Secret Services. And we said when the right time comes, he would give himself in. And that's the peculiar thing. And then we are caught in one of these dilemmas, because Carles Puigdemont is the president of Catalonia. He is in Belgium because he is not going to be extradited from there because of the Belgium laws. And then Wednesday, when the Spanish judge, which is sending all these people to prison and all, started, when there was like some people being brought to Spanish court, he should have stayed in Belgium no matter what, instead of going to Finland to do a conference. Nobody who's pro-independence and nobody who's intelligent would do that. But we talk about somebody that would have to be very dumb. Carles Puigdemont, well, is not the brightest guy on earth, but he's not the dumbest guy you've ever met. So the question that lacks is not intelligent. The question that lacks is he is not pro-Indi, and he has never been. And then he didn't do the second best thing, which was to hand himself or to give himself in Finland, which have better laws for that than Germany, and it would mean that he has escaped the authorities. Yeah. And what does he do? He takes a car and he enters Germany, and he's detained there, which has the worst laws because it has the same article that Spanish Constitution has. So the chances for extradition are bigger there than in Finland and bigger than in Belgium, where they don't exist. Well, we don't buy it. We don't buy that somebody whose only obligation was to stay put in Belgium makes the first mistake to go to Finland, and then the second mistake to flee Finland and be caught in Germany. We don't buy it. We don't buy it. We've been saying this time. Always making mistakes and setting up a newspaper with Stephen Burrian and being handpicked everywhere and anywhere, pam, 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 put there accidentally. We don't buy it. What is the explanation for this? He works for the other side. And now they put 5 members of government, which makes a total of 9 Catalan politicians in prison for doing a referendum that all of them have said we were not ready, it was not binding, unilateral ways are not right, all these things we've had to listen from them. And we said it before in this program, the only way to protect the infiltrators that have murdered independence from within is to pretend you're bringing them to prison. And that's what's happening. So that's the case. And why is it happening now? Because now this soap opera has reached its new stage. And the new stage now, as we said, the end game is a rigged referendum Scottish style. We've been telling you this for 5 years now, or 6 years. We wish we had a Scottish style referendum. They don't call it referendum. They don't call it never ending. They call it referendum. I mean, who can blame them? Nobody is telling the truth about the referendum, neither in Scotland abroad. Why should the Catalans be different, especially if they want to slaughter independence using a Scottish-style referendum, isn't it? And that's the moment now. There's tension. Spanish infiltrators have been fighting the police last night, 2 nights ago when you listen to this, and there's been detentions and there've been wounded people. And now we have Catalan politicians in 4 different countries, in Switzerland, in Belgium, in Germany now, and in Scotland. And let's see how it works. There's a raise of tension now. There's gonna be international mediation, and then Spain will have to back off from not making a referendum, and Catalans will have to back off from being a republic, and then we'll be slaughtered, because our referendum time, if at all, because referendums don't bring independence, was 4 years ago. So if that's the whole plan, the game plan was that, but it's as bad as they started comparing Spanish, very, very, very bad guys. Back in October, they started comparing Puigdemont with Companys. Companys was handed in by the Gestapo from Germany, as you know, in 1940. And they compared to him back in October. And then some weeks ago, the president of Catalan Parliament gets in a row where businessmen from, guess where from? Yes, Germany. They say that they all should be put in prison and they are attacking their businesses and all. Yeah, Germany twice in 3 months. And now he happens to make the mistake of being caught in where? Yes, Germany. And seconds after that, all the social media, which are rotten with infiltrators and with lots of dumb people that follow them, starts comparing Puigdemont and guess who? Companys, the murdered Catalan president. So we've gone for full circle, isn't it? They already knew in October, and that's how these things go. People running both Catalan and Spanish government work for the same team, and they already knew in October that Puigdemont would be detained in Germany in March. And they already knew about the 2 fake declarations, because this is a film, not a documentary. We're running nothing. Everything is devised in higher places. And they compare him to that in October, and they make the organized German row where this guy is totally out of order. And then he is picked up in Germany of all places, and then the comparison with Companys is all through social media. And that's to make people believe that he actually works for Catalans. But people listening to Radio Hadrian, we know better, and we're not falling for this trick. It's a trick that's only planned to murder independence through referendum, because if people want to be independent, you should know by now that only UDI will bring independence. Next person we want to do, and it's going to be a light program, I hope, because it's like an impromptu one, and we're not used, and you're not used either, to being tortured twice a week. Clara Ponsati is a member of government in Catalonia. Briefly, she was ushered in July. In July, we already said we don't trust any of the three guys in government. They didn't deliver independence twice, so we were very right at doubting them. Clara Ponsati, for the last 3 years, she has been dean or something similar in economics in Santander's. And she came here to be a few months. She was minister, and then she flees away with Puigdemont, and she says, oh, we don't have time, or we were not ready, and we didn't do the right things, which is something that they're using nowadays to avoid being called traitors. They just were dumb. They didn't know how to do it. They didn't foresee the consequences. They didn't do things right. Well, no. It's much worse than that. We're not letting you off the hook that cheaply. And then she comes back, so she hasn't suffered that much because she's reinstated in Santander's, where she's a professor again. And peculiar thing that no media in Catalonia has deemed important enough to mention is the fact that her lawyer, to try to avoid extradition, which won't be the case because he's just an actor, is none other than Amer Anwar. And in Catalan media he's mentioned as the dean or something. Here it's called rector, possibly it's dean or something higher than that, rector magnificus or something like this, of University of Glasgow. And that's about it. And he lies on television saying that, oh, it's very bad that they're doing this for Clara and other politicians just for wanting a referendum like in Scotland. And then he doesn't mention that Scotland didn't have any referendum at all. Because something to be a referendum, you need to stand a chance to win it. And you need your side to work for you. In Scotland, you didn't have any chance to win because the both sides on top worked together for London. So calling that a referendum, you cannot have a second referendum because you never even got the first one. So there's two funny things here. First, Nicola Sturgeon has come out to say that she suffers whatever, but there's nothing she can do to avoid extradition. So not much of devolution, if you ask me. And she cannot do anything. That's a link with Scotland and Catalonia this week. But the second link is this Amer Anwar, because guess what? And the link gets stronger. This Amer Anwar, which you know very well, it's also related to cases with jihadists and also related to Lockerbie, if I'm right, happens to be one of the main, I was about to say witness, happens to be one of the lying actors, saying that he was 50 meters from Ramblas when the van attack of the 17th of August of 2017 happened. And it's peculiar, isn't it? He was one of the most famous, if not the most famous person around. And he did the rounds in several televisions explaining how this happened and blah, blah, and so on. If that wasn't enough, bad enough, we have somebody linking the false flag attack in Barcelona with Clara Ponsati and the process. That's bad enough as it is. And what's very bad is that no media has told us. It has to be then again single-handedly Radio Hadrian with no budget at all and with nobody helping mainly, who has to unveil this. Nobody has considered important enough in Catalonia to mention. But oh, guess who? What was the official reason for Amer Anwar to be walking 50 meters from the false flag attack in Barcelona the 17th of August? Well, because the next day he was giving a lecture, a conference in Universitat Catalana d'Estiu. It's Catalan Summer University, which is something where all themes for independence are debated. It's a non-official university. And guess who was presenting the conference? None other than Ana Arqué, the very well identified and defined Spanish mole that is very active in Scotland. She's been contributor to Bella Caledonia. She's been there to the Scottish Conference or to the Independence Conference, but sadly she happens to work for the Axis London, Madrid, Washington. So peculiar. You have Amer Anwar, he's collaborating with spreading the lies about 17th of October, the false flag. And then the next morning is with none other than Anarque, the mole, which is the wife of super top mole in Catalonia, Joan Vives and Solervicens. So there, in front of your eyes, here in Radio Hadrian, we have just exposed a link between Spanish moles, the process, and the false flag in Barcelona, 17th of August. Yeah, we know, conspiracy theorists and tinfoil hat, and oh, it's a coincidence, and well, we know that. So if you belong to the vast majority of people that have lost the habit of thinking for themselves, you believe what you want. But some of us are already awake here, and we're not believing anything else that main media tell us, and that's why we open with this sentence from Malcolm X about, well, they're making our executioners, our enemies, and Puigdemont, Junqueras, and all these people in prison are enemies dressed as our soldiers. They are the ones who are gonna tell us that the referendum is a big result when we do a referendum. They're gonna be put out of prison when the agreement is reached, and on the other hand, media will make you the one fighting for you, which is Resistència, Directe 68, and us, look like the bad guys, because that's what they have. Spain has all the media in Catalonia, but they pretend to work for Catalans. Finishing now, because I said it's gonna be a soft one. Well, there's been in Catalan programs, there's a program called Frequently Asked Questions, which is a new program, and now they brought the sons and daughters of the people in prison, and that's pornographic because that's attacking our feelings instead of us thinking with our brains. We're fighting a very tough fight, which is an information and intelligence fight, and if we are thinking about feelings and all, there's no possibility we can win this. I don't like any of these traitors that are passing as independentists and are spending some time in prison because their bosses have ordered them to do that. They're not that willing, of course not, but their bosses in Madrid have told them they have to be there sometime because otherwise the story doesn't hold. So they have to be there. But even I don't like them at all, but I wouldn't want to be them when in some years or some months it would be obvious that they lied to those sons that are so appearing on media. They've been lied to, and they don't know that their parents are doing a part to defend the country of what they pretend to defend. That's gonna be a tough moment. And all the tweets and whatever appearing there is to make us not think that these guys that are in prison now are the ones that murdered independence, not once but twice during the month of October. After a referendum we won, and where 1,000 Catalan people were hit, wounded by Spanish police. So these programs in TV3, and we think TV3 is our television, but no, because otherwise it would be run by Spain. Spain doesn't run it officially because they need to run it unofficially to make more damage in pro-indie brains. Finally, two things. There's been elections in the Assemblea Nacional Catalana, which is the main grassroots organization. And finally, Elisenda Palousier, which was instrumental in getting me locked and working against independence for the last 30 years, since I've known her, has been elected as leader of the main grassroots organization in Catalonia. And guess who? Guess what? She is the former girlfriend. So now she was before Anarque was in the place of Joan Vives and Solervicens, some years ago it was Elisenda Palousier. It's a bit too cozy if you ask me. So now to clarify this, the Joan Vives and Solervicens, he has placed his people leading Convergència, which is now called PDeCAT. He has put Oriol Junquera, the number 2 politician in Catalonia, running Esquerra Republicana. He has Brauli Duart, which is the director of the Media Corporation of Catalonia. He put him there as well. And he was plotting about 2 minor parties as well. It's his people. And now his former girlfriend is running the main grassroots organization. Well done. If it wasn't because you're the enemy of Catalonia and because you're a bad person, Joan Vives, I would take my hat off for you because you placed everybody anywhere. So before Catalan resistance arrived, there was not a single chance for independence. And now to wrap this up, I want to comment on the things they tell about us, and I understand in a way, because also 4 years ago I was like that. If somebody had appeared, I would have preferred to keep being with the masses and going all together and not having to take hard decisions. But everything we say here is not a theory, certainly not a conspiracy theory. We already explained in 1970, it was invented by the CIA in 1967 to cover up for the murder of JFK. And actually, we're not theoric of anything because I've known most of these people for 30 years. So I'm not theorizing or not being theoretical about anything. I'm telling you things I know from the inside. I'm a whistleblower. The question is that we live in a world that real whistleblowers don't get attention nowhere. If you have a whistleblower that gets it easy to have access to places like Guardian and these places, and I have Edward Snowden and Julian Assange in mind, don't trust neither Snowden nor Assange because they've had it too easy, if you ask me. So the things they call me are the following: that I'm a unionist. That's a very good one. So I'm a unionist, and that's why I'm linking Catalonia and Scotland, which no unionist does because they always try to say it's different. When somebody tells you that it's very different, Scotland and Catalonia, it's working for the enemy. Because our interest is to link the two processes to be stronger. But secondly, how can I be a unionist and I try to unite all the independentist forces in 2012? And if I'm a unionist, why did the Spanish judge put me in a mental place? And then if I'm a unionist, why is not unionist media giving me space in their televisions? And if I'm a unionist, why don't I have thousands of people helping me like unionists do? So, no, it's just something they need to say to shut me up. Well, they also say I'm mad. Well, every time there's more people in the resistance, so we're a lot of mad people, I'm afraid. And we have people in the hospitals that have said to third person that they didn't understand what I was doing there. Well, I was doing there was being imprisoned. So it doesn't hold either. Others want to say that I want to divide. Well, bad news. Again, I have evidence that I met all the main four independentist parties with my friend Ramon Carne, also in Directa 68, to try to put the four independentist parties together in 2012. So I guess there's not many people in Catalonia that can prove they have done so much for independentist unity as I have. The other says, oh, how do you know that? Well, I know that because I've known these people for 30 years, because for 4 years I've been investigating like lots of hours every day, Monday to Sunday, because I've done 42 programs of Radio Hadrian, and then people keep adding information when they hear the things we say, and because I put brain first and feelings after, and emotions after. And some talk about resentment or ego. Well, I'm not. I've learned from some, I already knew that, but I've learned some very special people called Joan, Ferran, Rosa, and others I hope to meet in the future. And they told me that even the ones that hurting you, there's a reason in the life plan, because those people will motivate you to do things better and to win in the end. And ego, well, I don't know. I was a professional. I had lots more things, financial, personal. Life was much easier before I started this, so not much ego when sometimes you haven't known where your next meal was going to come from, as sometimes it has happened. Or there's not much ego when they make you feel like a vegetable because they torture you for months with chemicals that make you not want to be alive, though I never considered suicide. Or when you walk on land shoes. So no. The only reason moving us is because we have the determination, the information, the strategy, the capability to turn the tables on these people that have been deceiving us and lying to us. That's why we are doing this program, a documentary that will be in 3 languages. We're going to set up a digital newspaper, and we're going to declare independence using an instrumental party called Directa 68. We are winning, and we're going to win this. Visca Catalunya Lliure!
This has been another update from the Catalan Independentist Resistance from Radio Hadrian. Remember that you can follow us on social media, either on Facebook, YouTube, our Twitter account, Instagram, Google, Telegram, and also on iVoox.